By definition, a custom motorcycle reflects the taste and personality of its owner. Hello and welcome to American Thunder. I'm your host, Michelle Smith, coming to you from Classic American Motorcycles in Thousand Oaks, California. The beautiful bikes here definitely appeal to my senses. On today's program, we'll meet custom bike builders Mike and Paula Stafford of MGS Motorcycles in Lancaster, California. This husband and wife team produces uniquely stylized bikes, sometimes featuring some of Mike's other hobbies, wicked Gothic weapons. Ouch. Also on the show, our friends at Vengeance Motorcycles will show us how to make sure that your engine is put together right. Later on, we'll follow along as Performance Machine installs their new Contour Belt Drive primary prototype. I love hearing from American Thunder fans, and many of you have asked what goes on in my life when I'm not here hosting our show or riding a motorcycle. Well, I was recently asked to appear in a photo shoot for an upcoming issue of Stuff magazine. Today, we're going to give you a backstage pass, and I have a feeling you're going to like it.
Okay, here we go.
So stick around. We'll get back to motorcycles and lots more of my Stuff magazine photo shoot when American Thunder returns.
Welcome back. Our Progressive Insurance trivia question was, in what year did Harley-Davidson introduce the 1340cc Evolution engine? The answer, 1984.
Today's custom motorcycles are often longer and lower or taller and wider in the rear than the average production cruiser. Of course, every one-off machine represents its own style and dimensions. We recently paid a visit to the workshop of a family-run motorcycle business with more than a few sharp ideas. Once again, Mike Moran has more.
Thanks, Michelle. American Thunder is always looking for new and innovative custom builders. Mike and Paula Stafford have built a thriving motorcycle business in Lancaster, California, which specializes in kits and high-end one-off customs. When Mike met Paula, she was riding a Harley and he was following behind her in his car. He built himself a bike and soon got into the bike business full-time.
I've been building bikes about 8 years, 3 years full-time and 5 years in my garage part-time. I really like doing stuff that you can't buy out of a catalog. I like doing stuff that's different.
Mike will see an obstacle as a goal instead of an obstacle. And so where a lot of people think that his gas tanks might be fiberglass because people don't believe you can bend metal that way, he doesn't let that stop him. If he sees a vision in his head and he wants to put it into metal, he does.
My wife, Paula, brings a lot to the MGS. Without her, I couldn't do it because I work 90 hours a week, and a lot of women would get tired of that really fast. A lot of the bikes that we do, I don't think we really ever even draw it out. We just start doing it, and it kind of revolves on its own. And I've had people tell me that all of our bikes just look so different, and to me, that's a compliment. We have our own design, our own fender line. We have exhaust pipes that we manufacture here, and we do all the sheet metal on our bikes, from the fenders, gas tanks, handlebars, and mostly all the stuff that we outsource are the motors, the frames, the wheels, and we outsource the paint. We always typically use Softail frames with air ride suspension on it, and we're using a lot of Legend Air suspension on our bikes. We find that it makes it real versatile for us to raise and lower the bike and make the sheet metal the way that we want it to look. Typically on the motors, on the entry-level bikes, we usually use like 100-inch motors, but on the higher-end bikes, the more exotic bikes, we use 131 cubic inch motors. You know, they develop a lot of horsepower and the customer seems to like that. With all the bikes that I seem to be doing, there seem to end up with a lot of sharp edges and stuff, and I guess I'm attracted to kind of Gothic looking bikes, and if a person looked at my bike, he would probably think that almost everything on it you could take off of it and use it as a weapon. While we were down in Daytona, 4 of my employees that work with us got cut or scratched by the Dragon Slayer at one point, and one of the guys actually got impaled by one of the weapons that we made that we fabricated for the stand, and he ended up going to the hospital that night and got like 10 stitches in his calf. It was pretty brutal. It was pretty messy, but I think the Dragon Slayer drew blood on everybody that was there that weekend.
Mike likes to use sharp objects in his designs a lot of times, and I think that's just so that the bikes look mean and tough on the road. When it comes time to do something really over the top, those sharp edges come out, and it's usually a collaborative effort with all the guys. You know, they start off with something and it just grows.
This is a roller that we just got back from Dave at Little Designs. He does all of our paint for us here in town. Here at MGS, a roller to us means it comes with wheels, forward controls, Legionnaire, handlebars, headlight, front end, virtually everything minus the drivetrain and the wiring.
This pro street bike called the Viper sells for $27,000 as a kit and $60,000 completed.
We have a clientele that's younger, that's like 25, and I never want to stop doing stuff like that so the average person could afford to buy one of our bikes. But what I really enjoy is the person that maybe had paid for his kids to get through college, they're 50 years old, and they come to us and they want a chopper, but they want something really unique, and they're willing to spend $60,000, $80,000 to get that. And that really gives me an opportunity to be really creative. It typically takes us about 500 hours of sheet metal work alone just to create a one-off bike like that. The Sidewinder is one of the kits that we make. When we set out to do that, we wanted to make sure the customer had something that was still one-off, because that's what I would like to be known for, is doing stuff that's, you know, really unique. So at $30,000, the customer can get a bike with a gas tank, fender, handlebars that you can't buy out of a catalog.
The blue bike, which is named the MGS Diva, that's my bike. Mike built that for me after we moved into this shop here. It was a long process. It took me longer than most customers to get my bike, because I was always put on the back burner. But I love that bike. I love the feel of it. I love riding that bike. It's very comfortable. I feel very secure on it. I can handle it as well as any other bike I've ever ridden. And when we're all together riding with all the MGS bikes, it feels really cool. Mike says I'm a better rider than he is, but I'm riding that bike and he's riding a chopper with an 18-inch over front end. In the past, when he wasn't as comfortable on a bike as he is now, I could get him in the canyons. But now, even on those 18-inch over front ends, he's very good now.